A fun one to watch. Is it the type of fight that you were expecting coming in?
Yeah. I think that's just. I always think like, okay, we've been working on a little bit more like technique, a little bit more angles, but at the end of the day, I like to fight, so it kind of ends that way for me about every time.
It looked like you were having a lot of fun out there tonight. I mean, not that you don't normally, but even more so. I just wonder, I mean, talking going on. Was that anything to do with the environment or just what was going on tonight?
So I talk a lot when I fight, when I spar, but I think just the absence of the crowd and like I want to entertain the fans, so let's give them a little bit more.
You actually stood and flexed at one point for a second. Was that? It seemed like it coincided with the commentators saying that you look big. Is that what it was?
Yeah, I heard DC, so I had to flex on him.
Fantastic. How did you feel about the course of the fight? I mean, obviously he's a tough guy and he was having some good moments as well. So how did you feel like the fight was playing out as it was going on?
Borg is an awesome fighter. He's a former title challenger, but I feel like I controlled the fight, and I did what I thought I definitely won the fight. And then when I heard one judge give it to him, I was pretty scared because I'm coming off of 2 losses, so I cannot take a 3rd loss in a row. You never know what's going to happen with your job when you take 3 in a row. So there was a split second where I'm like, what is about to happen? But I was totally confident that I got the win, though.
Yeah, you mentioned the 2 losses. I know how much they burned you. Did it affect the way you came in mentally tonight? I mean, was there any kind of a pressure on you or a thought in the back of your head? I don't feel the pressure in that way, but like there was a split second just the other day. It was like it hit me like, oh shit, if I do lose, like I could lose my job, so, but like you can't let that get to you. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do what I do. I know at the end of the day, I know how to fight and I know how to be entertaining, and I'm going to use that to my advantage. Yeah. The last thing for me, as you said, very entertaining fight over a big name and a former title challenger. So what's next for you? Now you get to call some shots so you're not losing, right?
Yeah, well, before this fight, I signed a new contract with the UFC, so I was super happy about that. What's next is, I don't, during these crazy times, I'm not sure. I wouldn't mind staying busy. I recently started training with Team Oyama, as well as my team in Portland, American Top Team. So I've been adding that team to my game, and Coach Oyama's been helping me a lot. So I'm just gonna keep getting better. I'm 16-3. That's still a damn good record, and I'm gonna keep improving. And I would like to fight again soon.
Ricky, right here in front of you. You said you were doing a lot of talking. Did he say anything back?
Yeah, a little bit. Borg's a gamer. I was definitely talking probably a little bit too much, but I'm always getting tagged in his stuff, and he said he was too. He said because you look like me, and I said I'm older than you. You look like me.
You mentioned you could hear Cormier in there. Could you hear the commentary during the fight while it was going on?
Bits and pieces. Maybe if I shut up a little bit, I could have heard more. But yeah, I could hear for the most part. It's crazy. It's crazy not like being in front of the crowd, and it kind of reminded me. Looking at this whole thing, I was thinking like Contender Series all over again. Yeah. Short notice fight. And not really in front of a crowd. So that's kind of how I thought about it coming in. It was very similar. And
then Borg's obviously fought at 125, 135. He's missed weight a few times at 125, but he says he thinks he can make that weight. Did he feel like a 125 in there that just wasn't cutting weight?
I feel really strong at bantamweight division. So he felt strong. He felt fine, but I definitely had a size advantage on him, and I'm short guy, so if I can see the top of your head, maybe you should go back down. I don't know.
Is the mullet coming back after this win?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe with a couple more wins, it'll start. My cousin Vince Morales.
Are you surprised at how much people gravitated to when they saw you on Virtual Media Day? People were like, "Where did his mullet go?" Were you surprised at the reaction?
No, because I think. Because I came into the UFC with the mullet. I just started growing it right before I got in, and I held it out strong for 2 years. But man, that thing was banging. It was long. I even cut 5 inches off of it. I won't be, it was long though, and my wife would tell me I was ugly every day, so I got tired of it. All right, thanks guys.
Hey, Ricky, congratulations on the victory. How much weight is lifted off your shoulders when the judges actually got it right and gave you the decision?
I was scared there for a second. I had to look back at my coach, like, what the hell is about to happen? But it feels great. It feels great to be back in the win column.
And, I don't know if you know, MMA Decisions is a site where media members can submit their scorecards. 16 media members scored the fight for you. Not a single one scored it for Borg. How do you think we can fix judging so you don't have a situation like you did tonight where it almost didn't go your way?
I don't know. I mean, I don't have the answers, but I don't. There needs to. I mean, how are like you guys are obviously more knowledgeable than the guys judging us, so that's obviously a big problem. And I always criticize the judges, but it's tough. I don't have the answers either, but something does need to change because that is whack. My nose is messed up.
I think your nose looks good. As far as in the fight, we heard you talking to Ray a lot. Did you find that was easier to do because there was no crowd? Like I heard you guys sort of talking back and forth.
Yeah, I talk a lot when I fight and sometimes when I spar too. And I was just playing. There's no audience. So, I'm an entertainer, and so I was just playing it up a little bit for the fans at home.
And I'm sure you heard the commentary. Did that like sort of influence you a bit in the fight? I'm sure you're hearing DC on the call and everything.
Yeah, I heard DC like call me fat or something. He called me big or something, so I had to focus on him a little bit. But yeah, I can hear the commentary a little bit. It made it fun.
And last question for me: your wife really made you get rid of the mullet. How come you didn't negotiate that before the marriage?
No, I blame it on her. She always gets mad at me whenever I say that because she doesn't want people to be mad at her. But it's just a joke. I think honestly, I sat down with my coaches and my management after that last fight, and I think when I get hit, the mullet was flying everywhere. It was a little bit too long. So after those 2 losses, I thought I'd like switch things up, and maybe with a good streak, it'll start peaking back there again.
Enjoy the victory tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, James.
Next question comes from Jay Anderson with Cage Side Press. Your line is open.
Thanks very much. And Ricky, congrats on the win. I'm just curious, how much pressure did you put on yourself after the 2 losses? Because on one side, no one likes losing, but then it's a Hall of Famer and a fight of the night.
Yeah, I'm always tough on myself. And after that last fight, I just talked to my coach and I was like, what can I do? I feel like I'm doing all the right things. I'm always trying to get better. I'm always working on my game. And, I started making the trip over to California to train with Team Oyama, and Coach Colin Oyama's been helping me put my game together a little bit more, mixing things up a little bit more. And so, just they all did a great job tonight. My coach Fabiano Scherner, Colin Oyama, and my cousin Vince Morales, we had a great game plan, and and we got the win.
You keep getting some tough outs. Faber, Font, now Borg, who's a former title challenger at 125. Are these fights that you're seeking out? Are you seeking out the toughest guys, or does the UFC just know you're a guy who's not saying no?
I don't say no. They call me for a fight. I want to fight. So maybe I'm a firm believer that I belong here. I got when I got into the UFC, I was 12-1, 2-time LFA world champion. So there isn't anyone in the division that I feel like I can't compete against and I can't beat. So they call me with a name, I'm going to say yes.
And with that in mind, what's next for you in terms of time frame? Do you know how long you'd like to be out, or you can take some time off? I know it's hard to tell with all the circumstances. And then does Fight Island sound appealing to you?
Yeah, crazy times right now. Like, I don't really know what's going on. I know that, they're going to be doing shows at Apex and then Fight Island. So I'm just going to keep working on my game, getting better. And, I'm always down to fight. So when they call me, I'm going to fight.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Ricky. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next question comes from Shaquille Majuri with MMA Mania. Your line is open.
Congratulations on the big win, Ricky.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Now, obviously, Ray Borg going into that fight has moved up to bantamweight. That was kind of a circumstance out of his control. It seems like, he really wants to be at flyweight. The promotion wants to be at bantamweight. How do you think Ray Borg performed at bantamweight?
He's a good fighter. I don't know. He obviously has weight issues and stuff like that. So if you can't make the weight, you can't fight at that weight. So I don't know. I felt much stronger than him, But that's something he needs to figure out.
What is the predominant feeling for you now, finally getting back into the win column? Is it relief? Is it excitement? What's going on in your head?
Little bit of relief, but I know I'm doing all the right things. So I know I'm just gonna keep getting better, and that's where I belong.
Now, sorry, last thing, not to bring it back to your hair, but did you have that moment that everyone I know with long hair has when they cut it, where you put way too much shampoo on the first time you try and take a shower?
No, but I kept like reaching back to like move it because it was always in the way. So there's a couple times where I went back and I was like, oh, there's nothing back there.
All right, Ricky, congrats on the big win, man.
Thank you.